The Mazda CX-5 has been the Japanese brand's best-selling SUV for a decade. That's a solid run in anyone's book. And it's always traded on its upmarket pretensions. So what then is the point of the CX-60, which is roughly the same size and even more upmarket?
Well, as it turns out, Mazda buyers tend to be fairly loyal and often want to stay inside the ecosystem, and moreover, our own new car search data shows that a significant number of buyers are cross-shopping these two models. Simply put, the Mazda faithful are intrigued by the upscale aura of the CX-60, so we've lined them up to delve into the differences in what should be a fascinating intra-brand shootout.
In this video, we'll compare these two mid-size SUVs, which are roughly the same price, to see which one drives better, which one is more luxurious, which one is more comfortable, which one has the best gadgets and tech, and ultimately, which one is better value for money.
Whichever way you look at it, Mazda's SUV lineup is busier than a caffeinated echidna at an ant farm right now. And while the CX-5 is a known quantity, the CX-60 is still at the meet and greet phase. Both are classed as mid-size SUVs. Both are all-wheel drive, have 5 seats, appealing interiors and modern exterior designs, but there are significant differences. The CX-5 has less cabin and cargo space and a 4-cylinder engine aligned with the front axle, while the CX-60 gets a newer 6-cylinder powertrain sitting perpendicular to the front axle, like premium European vehicles. The Mazda pair ride on different platform architectures as well.
If you look at the entry-level versions of both these vehicles, there's a big price difference, almost $24,000. But what we've done here is align the prices as closely as possible to see how things shake out. So in one corner, we've got the top-spec Mazda CX-5 G35 Akera, priced at around $55,000. And in the other corner, we've got the entry-level Mazda CX-60 G40E Evolve, priced at around $60,000, bringing that price disparity from $24,000 down to about $5,000. Not too shabby.
In terms of after-sales support and cost of ownership, there are similarities, such as the 5-year warranty and roadside assistance, but also differences like service costs, which are much higher for the Euro-style CX-60. The polymetal grey Mazda CX-5's exterior design originated more than a decade ago, but I reckon it's been an unmitigated success since day dot, and still looks stylish and fresh thanks to consistent cosmetic surgery. The Sonic Silver CX-60 by comparison has more imposing optics, its longer snout, larger footprint and sportier aesthetic, adding a European vibe. The top-spec CX-5 rides on 19-inch alloy wheels, while base-grade CX-60s get 18-inch alloy wheels. Both have LED headlights with high beam assist, but the CX-5 gets smarter adaptive lights. And while both have roof spoilers, the CX-60 gets fancier tailpipes, although they're just for show. The doors on the CX-5 thud shut with more solidity, and the door handles have a more substantial premium feel as well. And I know these are little things, but they're important, I reckon.
This is where it gets interesting, because there's quite a bit of difference between the powertrains. The CX-5 gets a punchy turbo-petrol 4-cylinder engine, and it's been around for a while. It's not hybrid, but it's a good unit. It's reliable and has a lot more mumbo than most mid-size SUVs from Asia, and kind of reminds me of a modern-day Subaru Forester XT Turbo. Gosh, those things were epic. Anyway, this powertrain drives all 4 wheels through a conventional 6-speed automatic transmission. The CX-60, meanwhile, has clearly got the hots for high-end BMWs, packing a larger and even more powerful inline 6-cylinder turbo-petrol engine. Let's double click on this engine for a moment, because it's newer and more sophisticated and incorporates a 48-volt mild hybrid system that comes with regenerative braking and can switch the engine off while idle, but also when coasting on light throttle loads to save fuel. And spoiler alert, it sounds awesome. The new 3.3-litre 6-cylinder turbo engine comes in petrol and diesel flavours. Plus, there's even a 4-cylinder plug-in hybrid electric version of the CX-60, but that is going to cost you more than $90,000 once on-road costs are added. Back to this one, and this is the most affordable way to get into this lusty inline 6-cylinder engine at the moment. And like the CX-5, it powers all 4 wheels, but in a slightly different manner. Unlike the conventional 6-speed auto, this one has an 8-speed single clutch automatic transmission, which in theory should make it a little bit more efficient and potentially feel a bit sportier as well. The CX-5's all-wheel drive system favours the front wheels, while the CX-60 has a rear drive bias, not unlike German SUVs.
Okay, so the CX-5 is the smaller and the older of these two vehicles we're comparing, but true blue, it still feels quite modern and roomy, and I reckon this overall cabin design has really stood the test of time. Mazda has always set a high benchmark when it comes to fit and finish and perceived quality, and this range-topping CX-5 absolutely nails the brief, with high-quality materials across almost every surface. The leather seats are comfy with reasonably good lateral support from the side bolsters, plus they feature 10-way power adjustment and are heated and cooled. The dark russet Napa leather upholstery with light grey stitching looks and feels great, and the high-quality leather is surprisingly soft. Many of its Japanese rivals get much firmer, lower quality leather upholstery. This one is really good. It also gets a heated steering wheel, a tub-thumping 10-speaker Bose audio system, and physical dual-zone climate controls. Storage solutions are a mixed bag in the CX-5. You've got 2 spring-loaded cup holders here, but they're kind of shallow, so if you've got a tall bottle, it's going to pop up a lot and sort of get in the way. The glove box is rather small, but I do like the fact you've got sunglasses pocket there. Incidental storage area here, which also doubles as a phone charger. And while you've got 2 USB-C ports in the rather small central bin, it's all quite effective because when you plug in the cables here, it keeps them all nice and tucked away and they don't get pinched because there's clever little channels here, so that works really well. Plus you get 2 12-volt sockets, one here and another one in the central bin. Best of all, the door pockets fit the Mega Gulp. Hallelujah.
A blend of analog and digital instruments for the driver display works well, and although there's not a huge amount of customization, it's legible and easy on the eyes. There's also a very good head-up display and the steering wheel controls are sensibly laid out. A 10.25-inch central infotainment screen looks great in this mini widescreen format, and the menus and operating system are excellent, with quick response, simple explanations for each menu, and high-resolution visuals. The native operating system works well with the rotator dial and shortcut buttons, and again, the controls have a high quality and satisfying feel during use. The infotainment system is only touchscreen enabled for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and needs to be configured via menu surfing to turn it on, due to Mazda's belief that touchscreens are distracting.
The reversing camera system reveals sharp visuals, regular or fisheye views, a 360-degree overhead view on the side, plus front views and wheel camera angles as well. Unlike some newer cars, however, it can't park itself or be reversed remotely via the key fob or smartphone. Righto, the CX-60, and right away there's a sense of extra space here. This section here, the transmission tunnel, is much thicker, so if you're looking for a little bit more personal space between you and the front passenger for whatever reason, you're going to get it here. The overall dash design and the cabin feels more modern, a little bit more contemporary, and that's through things like this funkier gear shifter and really nice dual zone climate controls. While material quality is generally very nice in the entry-level CX-60 above the belt line, it's not as flash as its sibling, with a few scratchy plastic panels if you look for them. The seats have similarly firm cushioning and good lateral support, but again, the Maztec synthetic leather feels cheaper and not as supple as the CX-5's proper leather upholstery. You also miss out on heating and cooling for the front seats, which are manually operated now. But you do get 8-way manual adjustment, which is appreciated. There's no heated steering wheel, the 8-speaker stereo is unbranded, but the metallic look finish around the central control area gives it a sportier persona. Storage solutions in the CX-60 are not quite as good as the CX-5, starting with the 2 cup holders. They're a bit smaller, a bit narrower and shallower, and I can't quite put the bottle all the way to the bottom. But I do like the fact that they're concealable, which appeals to one's OCD tendencies of bringing order from the chaos. The
Glove box is a little bit bigger. You've got the sunglasses holder too, that's nice. But this incidental storage area here is tiny. You're not gonna get much there other than the phone, which thankfully it does have a wireless charger in there, which is great. These butterfly opening doors on the center console are absolutely gorgeous. They look and feel amazing. And like its sibling, there's also twin USB-C cables in here with the channels, so you don't pinch them when you shut the doors. However, the actual space in here is a lot less than in the CX-5, plus there's no extra 12-volt socket in there either, but it does fit the mega gulp in the door pockets. Happy with that.
The CX-60 features an almost identical driver display, blending a 7-inch digital screen in the middle, flanked by analog dials. And again, the head-up display, or active driving display in Mazda parlance, is excellent, featuring road speed, real-time legal speed limits, navigation, and cruise control info. The steering wheel controls are similar in layout, but offer improved tactility here. The 10.25-inch central infotainment screen is almost identical, as is the operating system and menu structure, which is all rather pleasing. It's also not a touchscreen, but works well with the rotator dial and shortcut buttons. However, the high-quality, satisfying feel of the rotator dial in the CX-5 is absent here, replaced by lighter, cheaper-feeling components.
The sat-nav system looks a bit old, but works well once engaged, although it can be frustrating using the dial to input destinations. Voice commands is a better option here. This isn't an issue in the CX-5, but it most certainly is for this base grade CX-60, which has no touch input capability whatsoever. Up-spec GT and Azami versions do get it. So, to sum up, the rotator dial works beautifully for the native operating system in both cars, but is counterintuitive in the CX-60 when using CarPlay or Android Auto. Thankfully, the 4 cameras appear to have better lenses, resulting in a sharper picture from the regular and fish-eye views, front and rear, as do the 360-degree overhead and side views.
Picking a winner based on interiors is tough. It's a choice between stretching out with more room in the CX-60 or being dazzled by the extra equipment and luxury fittings in the CX-5, like the sunroof and the fancy front seats. Both vehicles come with all the latest safety tech, but the CX-60 has 10 airbags, 4 more than the CX-5. Furthermore, the CX-5's ANCAP safety rating from 2017 has now expired, whereas the bigger Mazda was tested to more stringent protocols in 2022, where it nabbed a 5-star safety rating. The back seat of the Mazda CX-5 is pretty good. You get that same gorgeous russet leather upholstery that you get on the front seats, which is good, and the seats are a little bit form-fitting. They're sort of scalloped back here, so you can sort of nuzzle into it, and given the amount of headroom and legroom I've got for what is one of the smallest SUVs in its class, isn't too shabby. I wouldn't be too upset to spend a bit of time back here. My kids love the big windows as well, and parents will also dig the fact you've got dual ISOFIX and triple top tether child seat anchorages. Backseat amenity is pretty good. You've got dual adjustable air vents, seat back pockets, bottle holders in the doors, and probably one of the most feature-packed central armrests I've ever seen. Dual cup holders plus heated outboard seats, thank you very much. A secret stash with USB-A ports. Pretty cool. The CX-60 feels roomier back here, and it's not just because it's got lighter headlining. It's actually a bigger car. It's longer by 16 centimeters and wider by 4 centimeters. And that means a little bit more headroom and more leg room. And while the seats aren't quite as comfy or form-fitting and the leather isn't quite as high quality, I reckon this is going to suit family buyers with bigger, older kids more so than the CX-5. While this one doesn't have heated rear seats like its sibling, it does one-up the CX-5 in amenity. So you've got the adjustable air vents, check. 2 USB ports, but they're USB-C now, check. Plus a 220-volt, 150-watt conventional power point. That is going to be seriously useful. And of course, you've got the fold-out armrest with twin cup holders, always nice. And those with smaller kids have the twin ISOFIX and triple top tether child seat anchorages as well. The CX-5 gets a power-operated tailgate that reveals a modestly sized but versatile cargo space. And you get this beautiful cargo cover as well. Check it out, nicely engineered. You just unclip that,
slot it there, very effective. You don't have shopping bag hooks in here, which is a shame, but you do have 4 tie down hooks, a 12-volt socket, and these back seat slammer latches. Bang, very handy. Plus, under here, space saver spare. Not a full size, but better than nothing. The CX-60 also gets a powered tailgate and a much larger boot. On paper, it's only 39 litres, but when you measure it, it's a good 6 centimetres wider and 4 centimetres taller, roughly the same depth. But I mean, that 39 litres, that could be, 19 2-litre cartons of milk. That's a lot of extra space. Amenity is almost identical to the CX-5, starting with the beautiful cargo blind. Love that. Plus you get 4 tie-down anchorages, a 12-volt socket, no shopping bag hooks. That's a bit of a shame, but the back seat slam down hatches, again, are excellent because it means you don't have to walk around to the side doors to fold the seats down. So you can just get instant extra boot space just like that. Plus, like the CX-5, you've got 40-20-40 split folding. So you've got good versatility there. You can have 1 seat up or 2 seats up with the middle section down. It's pretty good. Last but not least, there is a space saver spare tyre as well. Better than nothing. Well, so far, this is a really close race, but will that theme continue when we get them on the road? Cue the driving music.
The CX-5 has been around for yonks, yet is still one of the more engaging SUVs in its class. And this up-spec turbo-petrol engine makes everyday driving a doddle. That's because it has lusty mid-range torque, which gives it excellent pulling power right where you want it. You don't have to rev it out for it to do its best work. In some ways, it's almost like a lazy diesel, and this makes it effortless to punt around the suburbs, and it's a good commuter car. The 6-speed automatic transmission is far from novel or innovative. In fact, it's pretty old, but it gels nicely with the engine, and it gets the job done in a fuss-free manner. You want quiet, smooth shifts? You got it. Ride comfort in the CX-5 is firm but compliant. It settles smoothly over speed humps and generally feels comfortable, absorbing road imperfections and shoddy surfaces reasonably effectively. And while that firmness will transmit the odd thump through the steering wheel, general livability is good. And if you find yourself on a twisty road, you won't be disappointed with its dynamic ability. It tracks cleanly through corners, and the steering is direct and well weighted, adhering to Mazda's sporty ethos. The all-wheel drive system also adds extra assurance in all weather conditions with increased traction and sure-footedness, and the connection between car and driver is pretty good for an SUV. Refinement levels have improved appreciably in Mazda vehicles over the years, and while there's still a bit of tyre noise on coarse chipped surfaces, the cabin has relatively calm acoustics. Visibility is okay, but these chunky front and rear pillars do obstruct your lines of sight a little bit. But look, it's nothing a quick head check or lean over can't remedy. The fact I didn't notice the brakes means the anchors are neither great nor terrible, but are fit for purpose. And overall, the CX-5 remains a competent all-rounder. Okay, the CX-60, and the first thing you notice is how much bigger it feels in your lane, and also how lively it is. Throttle response is a bit snappier, and it definitely moves with more purpose. The 6-cylinder turbo-petrol engine generates a far more pleasant soundtrack than its 4-cylinder counterpart, starting off as a subtle growl that intensifies as the revs rise. And you know what? It gives the car more charisma, with a reassuring push from the rear axle as you take off. And I think ultimately it's a more sophisticated feeling engine than in the CX-5. That said, the single wet clutch automatic gearbox needs work. It's fine around town and is generally a diligent unit, but I noticed some hesitation and heavy downshifts on the odd occasion, taking some of the sheen off the cultured engine. With its rear-biased all-wheel drive system and sporty looks, I expected the CX-60 to be dynamically superior to its smaller sibling, but it's not. And I think there's 2 reasons for that. A, it's 200 kilograms heavier, and B, it doesn't have the body control of the CX-5. It just seems to lean through the corners a bit more and doesn't feel as nimble or agile. It's better suited to long, open, sweeping corners and would certainly be a great partner for a long road trip, you know, Sydney to Melbourne. But when it comes to ride comfort, the newer Mazda does a better job. The Japanese brand quietly applied a new suspension tune in 2023 to dial back the CX-60's ultra-stiff nature, where occupants would feel every lump and bump in the cabin. It's a more supple vehicle now and rides relatively smoothly over most road surfaces. But a byproduct of this softer suspension kind of makes it feel a bit bouncy in certain situations, rocking heads and bodies about, especially over smoother undulations. Refinement levels are pretty good for the most part, with a slightly quieter cabin and perhaps more sound deadening materials in use, and this makes it feel more upmarket than its base grade designation would suggest. There's not much between the cars in terms of visibility. The CX-60 has slightly narrower A-pillars, which gives you a bit better vision out the front, but the CX-5 has better rearward vision overall. When it comes to deceleration, I prefer the more immediate response of the CX-60's brakes, which are also fairly progressive for a regenerative system. When it comes to fuel efficiency, the CX-5 is slightly thirstier than its claim, but this is still an impressive result for the 2.5 litre turbo, given there are no hybrid bits. Despite its extra mass and bigger engine, the CX-60 used less fuel overall, proving more efficient on the open road and within city limits. Its clever hybrid and coasting tech likely giving it an edge. At the end of the day, the CX-5 is still a great all-rounder and feels sportier than it has any right to. Despite the improved ride comfort in the CX-60 compared to earlier builds, I was a bit disappointed with its cornering ability, to be honest. I think the suspension needs another once-over. That said, the engine is a sweetheart. In everyday scenarios, I enjoyed driving the CX-60, and that lusty inline 6 is almost worth the price of admission alone. It feels like a more substantial vehicle on the road, is generally more comfortable, and has extra room to boot. If you can snaffle a sharp drive-away price for the CX-60, it's certainly worth a look and can be had in more lavish GT and Azami trim levels. But for this test, the top-spec CX-5 offers more luxury, gadgetry, and arguably delivers better value for money.
If you're a Mazda loyalist whose family has outgrown the CX-5, then the CX-60 will make a lot of sense. But to say both these cars are winners would be a lie. And this is a comparison after all. And in my view, the CX-5 is the better vehicle and wins this family feud. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And which would you pick? CX-60 or CX-5? Have your say in the comments below.